they are asking me questions like, I've cleaned the fish and we have used the fillet and we have used this, we have used the skin. What do we do with the bones now? So I said, turn the bones
Mm-hmm.
into something edible. So then we start researching how can we eat the bones that would otherwise find themselves in a landfill, nitrifying it, right? So now our signature dish is made with fish bones. That's the first thing you eat when you come to the restaurant.
Hi, and welcome to Big Food Energy, a podcast that spotlights some of the most exciting food businesses in India and around the world. Today, we're chatting with chef and restaurateur Deepanker Khosla, who is the creative genius behind Haoma, a Michelin-starred restaurant in Bangkok. At Haoma, sustainability is the starting point, the end goal, and the driving force behind everything the restaurant does and stands for. Haoma has been widely recognized for its sustainable practices, and earlier this year, it was given the Sustainable Restaurant of the Year award at Asia's 50 Best Restaurants. Today, we're speaking to Chef about what sustainability really means for a restaurant. Hi, Chef. Welcome to Big Food Energy.
Thank you, Smitha. Thank you. And thank you for that introduction.
It's my pleasure, really. How's it going? What's happening in Bangkok?
Very good. Just enjoying the monsoon kicking in, end of a very busy
Yeah.
season. We're kicking in a new season of R&D. We're working on a lot of carbon offset programs at the restaurant at the moment. So I'm very excited for that.
Mm-hmm.
Off season doesn't look like it's going to be very off for me.
Which is generally the case for most chefs and
Yes,
restaurateurs, I think, these days.
yes, yes,
Super. But chef, before we get into all of that, I
yes,
know that your journey has been pretty crazy. You grew up in Allahabad. You've worked in restaurants and hotels. In India, you ran a food truck in Thailand before eventually
yes.
starting Haoma. So I'd like to start at the beginning. Could you tell me about what you ate when you were growing up?
Smitha, this is very interesting because, as a small town boy, when I was growing in Allahabad, Allahabad was like a three-tier city.
Mm-hmm.
We got our first traffic light, I think, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So growing up in Allahabad was pretty interesting because it
Yeah.
was a little bit, backwards in terms of modernization. But Allahabad, as you know, was Allahabad University was known as the Oxford of the East. Allahabad has
Yeah.
given birth to 11 of our 18, 19 prime ministers.
Mm-hmm.
It is known as the city of the last bungalows. We grew up on the Lord Mountbatten and the Stanley Roads of India. So it was a
Yeah.
very crisp upbringing with a lot of definition and a lot of goal-oriented upbringing. I would like to call it is what I believe
Mm-hmm.
in. And my parents were awoke when we were growing up. I
Mm-hmm.
remember us as a child. To my dad listening to Boney M and ABBA on the gramophone. But when you stepped out of the house, you had to find the road between potholes. So that was, that mix
Yeah.
has worked brilliantly for me and my brother, I think, and it has helped
Mm-hmm.
to shape us as not only street smart kids who can brace the storm, but also at the same time has given us a slight bit of polish to face the world. And I think it was very interesting. Eating the food that we ate in Allahabad was
Mm-hmm.
extremely seasonal. If we, I
Mm-hmm.
take a lot of pride in this. And as a matter of fact, a friend of mine who's a big cardiac surgeon in Allahabad, he called me the other day at 7:30 in the morning. He was reading one of my interviews recently, and he said that, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the way you speak about Allahabad, we living in Allahabad never look at it like that, because Allahabad lies in this piece of land that is between the Ganga and the Yamuna. That's where the Sangam is.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that piece of land is known as Ganga Jamuna Doab. Ganga Jamuna Doab is where the most fertile alluvial soil of India is found. And it gives birth
Mm-hmm.
to amazing produce. We have mind blowing from lentils, pulses, grams, legumes to seasonal vegetables. Amazing seafood product coming from the river. There's so much that is going on in Allahabad, and in the summer we have the Loo, and in the winters we have -2 degrees on Christmas night. So there is very
Wow.
distinct seasonality in the Ganga Jamuna Doab, and seasons give birth to tremendous produce. So
Mm-hmm.
eating as kids, and I think that 100% of the food philosophy of Haoma was in the beginning, you know. started with the idea of my upbringing in Allahabad and how we ate. So
Right.
really, really important question, I think, to our conversation today. Allahabad
Mhm.
mein, we ate from the trolley that came outside our house in the morning. Na? That bhaiya,
Right.
whatever he brought was what we ate. It was never like my
Mhm.
mom asking us to go 10 kilometers away somewhere to bring carrots or nothing. It was never like that. If my mom wanted
Right.
to make gajar ka halwa, she would tell that bhaiya, bring me 5 kilos gajar whenever you have them next week, and then we'll make gajar halwa, right? In the morning, it
Right.
would be buy 5 pieces of onion, 2 pieces of tomato, 10 pieces of this and some gobi, and then while having chai in the morning at 7:30, my mom would decide what she would cook for breakfast, lunch, and dinner from that product that was on the
Mhm.
table. And
Right.
then
Right.
when I went to Manipal to culinary school, and after that I went to do my trials at OCLD and at WMI, they gave us the same idea. It used to be called a magic box that would be kept on the table with some products on it, and they say cook
Mhm.
a menu from this. And I was like, this is what we've been doing since we were children. This is we would brainstorm on the table in the morning ki aaj ye khana hai, during our summer holidays or our winter holidays. So
Yeah.
eating has always been. We I come from a purely vegetarian household. My mom does not even eat
Mhm.
egg. My dad is 100% vegetarian as well. But as we grew up in Allahabad, which is the confluence of
Of-
not only the rivers but also the cultures of Majidia Islamia India and the Allahabad or Prayagraj as they call it now.
Mhm.
The both of them meet at a very beautiful intersection of beautiful Brahmin, Agarwal, Marwadi cuisine of India, and the
Yeah.
Mohammedan cuisine of India. So I have been exposed to
Mhm.
both as a child, and I think that has helped to shape the cuisine of Haoma today.
Right, right. Okay, interesting.
Yes.
And of course, Hauma has become the sort of benchmark for sustainability in the culinary world.
Yes.
Uh, what was the inspiration behind founding a restaurant with the that had a foundation of sustainability that was so sort of strong?
Smitha, as you know, and you've been to Thailand, I'm sure, and our readers and our listeners today have also been, and they know that Thailand has only 3 seasons. It's called hot, hotter, and very wet. So there was no distinct seasons here. And when I started my restaurant, my pedigree was India, right? I grew up in Allahabad. I went to culinary school in Manipal at Vaksha, and then I did ITC hotels for 5.5 years before I left. So everything
Hmm.
was seasonality based, right? Everything was distinct season based. And then I came to Thailand and it was not. So it was very alien to me ki seasonality nahi hai,
Hmm.
then how does it work? So that's when I started diving
Right.
deep inside into it. And that's why 2 years later, after my last hotel assignment, I was doing a restaurant here. I started the food truck to be able to explore that. The
Hmm.
food truck was not really my first business proposition. It was my
Hmm.
exploration of Southeast Asia, and I drove 20,000
Right.
kilometers around in that truck. I did Thailand, I did Vietnam, I did Cambodia in search of
Wow.
how does this part of the world eat? Like, where
Hmm.
is the product coming from? Because when I came from India, I did a restaurant called Charcoal, which was, tandoor, curry, biryani, that the pedigree that I
Right.
grew up with but my inclination was always towards that for two reasons. Allahabad, if you go back and look at it, in 1996, there was a district magistrate there called Mr. Chatterjee who took plastic away, single-use plastic away from Allahabad in
Hmm.
1996. And
96. Yeah.
yeah, so that is, I'm talking 24 years ago. I was a child. I was 9 years old, and our family, not just our family, I think the entire city had found creative ways of not using plastic anymore, right? I remember
Hmm.
my dadi used to take purani bed sheets and make jholas out of that. And then we used to take these jholas to buy sabzi or get
Yeah.
paneer and get doodh and milk used to come in these jholas. And I adopted a similar practice in my restaurant. My old tablecloths become kitchen aprons. Old kitchen aprons become kitchen
Hmm.
dusters. So we adopted a similar practice without which was I wouldn't say. And then that idea came from the skies for me. As a child saw that. I was 8 or 9 years old when this was happening, right? So it was imbibed in
Hmm.
my DNA. And then I worked for ITC hotels. I dedicated 50% of the space in Haoma to build an urban farm. I connected my rainwater gutters on the rooftop to my tanks. which did not cost me a lot of money to do, but I had gotten these ideas from working at the ITC hotels, and I just incorporated that into my business here.
Right. And, of course, you were talking a little bit about, reusing the rainwater,
Yeah.
reducing some of the wastage. Uh, but could you tell me a little bit about how would one define sustainability in the context of a restaurant? Because I guess when people think about sustainability for a restaurant, they think of like, okay, maybe it's vegetarian, or like, maybe
Yeah, yeah,
they have like very less food wastage. But you look at sustainability in quite a holistic way. So if you
yes.
could talk to me a little bit about that.
I break it down. So, in when we were taught, like when I was in school and I was studying economics, culinary economics, they spoke about
Mm-hmm.
three elements, which was the three P's of profitability. They said these
Mm-hmm.
three P's were people, public, and processes. So I took these three P's from profitability and I turned them into sustainability. And how I did that was is what I'm going to explain to you now. So I understood that the number one and the most important thing for sustainability is going to be the first P, which is people. If people
Mm-hmm.
who work for me do not understand sustainability and do not understand my drive for a better tomorrow, then they will not give a shit about what I say. So their
Sure.
induction was all my general manager and sommelier is Vishy. Vishwas Sidana, ex OCLD, ex LASAC, New Delhi, worked in San Francisco. He came to me and I said, I want to create a sustainable, I want to, take a very sustainable approach to it. And he said, challenge accepted. Last year we were awarded the world's most sustainable wine list. We only bring the
Mm-hmm.
most sustainable,
Amazing.
so people, coming back to that, people. So I have sustainability of people was the first thing in my mind. People should understand sustainability, and sustainability of people is very important. So I currently in my kitchen have everybody 8 years later from my pre-opening team. I have sustained my
Amazing.
staff. Okay, so they
Mm-hmm.
should understand what sustainability is. Sustainable
Yeah.
people create sustainable products. So now, once my
Mm-hmm.
people have understood sustainability, when I tell them that this product is going to be sustainable, we are going to do this. We are going to, okay, chef. They are asking me questions like, I've cleaned the fish and we have used the fillet and we have used this, we have used the skin. What do we do with the bones now? So I said, turn the bones
Mm-hmm.
into something edible. So then we start researching how can we eat the bones that would otherwise find themselves in a landfill, nitrifying it, right? So it would usually go. So now our signature dish is made with fish bones. That's the first thing you eat when you come to the restaurant. It's edible fish bones. So sustainable people create sustainable products. And to run these, we create sustainable processes. These are my three
Mm-hmm.
P's. So I create these sustainable processes, give them to people who understand sustainability. All right. So that is my
Mm-hmm.
holistic approach on how we run what we do over here. And then there are people on the outside of the business who are also involved in
Mm-hmm.
sustainability. Number one is the most important thing is our suppliers. So when we work with
Mm-hmm.
our suppliers, we have created this entire guideline that see we live in a city of 18 million people. If you're trying to tell
Mm-hmm.
me that restaurant XYZ is buying their chicken from is really good chicken and I want to buy from them, but they take individual pieces of chicken and egg and wrap them in plastic and send to them, I will not buy it. It's as
Right.
simple as that. It might be the best chicken in Bangkok, but I will not buy it. There is millions of decisions I have to take as a restaurateur. I just take the
Mm-hmm.
sustainable one, and then I take that. I have this entire guideline that I've created. I have a dedicated person for purchase, which every restaurant has. But
Yeah.
Kunli, this 62-year-old lady who has been with me since the day the restaurant opened, and worked on Nike's sustainability program for 22 years before she came to me. She was working with
Wow.
sustainable products for shoes and clothing for Nike for 22 years before she came to work with me. This is actually a retirement job. She came to dine at the restaurant and now she works with me. She loved the process so much. And she's been here for that
Very
long.
cool.
So she then finds people who understand what we do and are ready
Mm-hmm.
to fit into our guidelines that we have created. Which I can share with you if you want to float it out for people to read them. I can share them with you. And then once we find these suppliers, I don't think there is a very loosely used term in the world of sustainable restaurants and sustainability. It's called zero waste. There is nothing called zero waste.
Yeah.
It does not exist. It's minimizing waste is what we work for. अगर हमारे restaurant में plastic नहीं आएगा, if we don't get plastic in our restaurant, we are plastic free. So how do we stop plastic at the supplier level? We go like, we don't want we don't want the subsidy to be packed in plastic. Wrap it in a banana leaf, or just put it in
Mhm.
an old newspaper and send it to us. For God's sake, as simple as that. And they go like, okay, it's cheaper for us. Packaging costs us a lot
Yeah.
of money. I said, and these are the bags that are made from our old tablecloths. Dunk it in there and send it to us. It is our responsibility how we want to treat it, how we want to work with.
Mhm.
We will work only with seafood suppliers that don't deliver products in styrofoam. Put it inside a container, a crate box. I will spend money to send it back to you. Okay, so that's
Mhm.
how we dealt with them in the beginning. And now, 5, 7 years later, I don't need to change my suppliers. I work with them on regular basis. They understand we are who we are, and they also understand at the same time that by working with us, perhaps they're
Mhm.
contributing to a better tomorrow.
No, that's amazing. You were talking about how you had to make those initial investments. When you were getting, produce into the restaurant, you would sort of send out bags to people so that they could wrap it in your own bags. All of that must have cost money,
Yes,
which, when you're operating a dining restaurant, your margins are super thin. So how does one balance sustainability with running a fine dining restaurant and
yes.
actually sort of breaking even and running a profitable business?
Smitha, that you've mentioned is the most integral point of this entire conversation, I guess, today. What keeps a restaurateur and a chef away from knowing what's behind the door is never opening the door. My restaurant is phenomenally profitable.
Mm-hmm.
Sustainability can, over years, be proportionate to great numbers of profitability. That is the fourth P of sustainability. No
Mm-hmm.
business is successful without being profitable. My diners don't come here to eat sustainability. My employees don't live on sustainability. I don't pay my rents with sustainability. All of that transcends down into profitability.
Yeah.
Let me explain to you a little bit more about that.
Mm-hmm.
When I started the restaurant, I
Yeah.
created a blueprint and a prototype of this. I invested around 500,000 baht, that is 14 lakhs, into my sustainable infrastructure. I started with 500 fish in
Mm-hmm.
the tanks. I use only the fish that I grow in the restaurant, and I for a long time I only use that. I now use giant trevally because I just fell in love with that fish. I never thought that it could be anywhere outside of Japan, but I have a farmer who brings it from the Gulf of Thailand, only 200 kilometers away. So this fish, I got 500 fish
Wow.
in the starting. A fish costed me around 30 paisa a fish, a tadpole, and I started with these tadpoles. And I have never put more fish in
Wow.
7 years in that tank. The fish multiplies, correct?
Mm-hmm.
We have waste in the kitchen. Now this idea comes from where? Every morning my mom would open the door and there would be a cow outside our door, and my mom would feed it all of the vegetable waste from yesterday and all the suki rotis from last night. And then I came to Thailand.
Hmm.
I saw the same thing. People come to the side of the river, all these old ladies, and they put their gajar ka chilka and potato peels and all of that stuff, and all of these fish start hogging it. So I was like, fish eat vegetable waste. So I started turning all of the vegetable waste from my restaurant for food for these fish that are growing in my restaurant. I just took a
Nice.
corner of my restaurant and installed 4 fish tanks there of 500 liters each. The entire area takes less than 50 square meters, so square feet.
Mm-hmm.
That's in 5 square meters. 5 to 10 square meters is all I dedicate to this. And they started
Wow.
multiplying, and now they multiply. When one fish lays egg, it gives birth to 20, 30, 40 fish. Maybe 5 or 10 of them
Mm-hmm.
survive to become adults in the future. And then I don't buy fish anymore. I sell in a Michelin-star restaurant free fish.
Incredible.
Can you imagine how profitable that is? And then in the pandemic, I started a farm with 50 chickens. I learned a very tough lesson that if you don't
Mm-hmm.
collect eggs, they become more chickens. And now I'm sitting on 2,200 chickens. And now I have to find
Oh my
creative ways to
God.
put those chickens on the plate. And now
Mm-hmm.
my chicken is free. My egg is free. They eat the grass that grows there. They eat the food that, it's not, let's not say it's absolutely free. But I have to
Sure.
buy some grain. I go to the rice mill and I buy the rice husk for them. I go to the oat guys,
Mhm.
the grain guys, and I say, give me all of your broken oat that you cannot pack it. और ये सब सामान मैं खरीद के अपने chicken को खिलाता हूँ. And my chicken eats this. I grow Mombasa grass, which I planted once 4 years ago. It dries completely, dies out in the summer, and then once it starts
Mhm.
raining, it just appears out of nowhere, and then it becomes an entire shrub, and the chickens eat this stuff,
Wow.
right? And then I bought 3 goats, and then I started leaving these goats between the chicken, and these goats costed me 8,000 rupees a goat. And then I started leaving these goats who were eating the shrubs, and then they were defecating. When they defecate, maggots come and sit on the excrete of the goats, and these maggots are eaten by the chickens, which are super high protein. And then the chickens excrete, and this excrete falls on the grass, and the grass and the chicken poop is the best fertilizer on the planet. It's a circular ecosystem. The
Right.
problem with people
Wow.
of reducing one chandelier in your restaurant is 15 lakhs. Let's be honest. That's what a chandelier costs in your restaurant. Or that fancy oven that you wanted one more in your kitchen was 15 lakhs. So if you
Yeah.
invested that in the beginning, now 5, 7 years later, I'm juicing it. Like at Michelin star level, at fine dining level, we are able
Mhm.
to run at food cost less than 22, 23%. Usual
Wow.
benchmark in this industry is 30, 32%. So this is straight
Mhm.
profitability, na 7, 8% key on my bottom line.
Yeah.
And that's how,
Yeah.
and that's how that is to answer your question
That's
about
amazing.
profitability. Yes.
Right, right. So, Chef, you also mentioned, the Michelin star. How important is the Michelin star to the vision that you're trying to create? I'm sure when the star came, there was a lot of attention. Maybe reservations went up. But how do you think that has contributed or helped with the vision that you're trying to build?
Smitha, when a photographer starts shooting photos, he wants a Pulitzer Prize. When an actor starts acting, he wants the Oscar. So as a chef, when he cooks at the level that we cook, that recognition from Michelin
He
is
wants
there
more.
is nothing bigger than that. Na? For all of these
Yeah.
standing here at 8 o'clock in the morning, working 7 days a week, to be able to deliver what we deliver, when they put this on your T-shirt, it makes it feels amazing when you wear it every morning to come to work. Michelin has helped a lot by bringing in a diner that is a lot more awoke. Let me say it like that.
Mhm.
Uh, People who were coming to the restaurant before did not give a shit about sustainability. They were coming here because we cooked
Mhm.
delicious food. But I just kept
Right.
doing it because this is who I am. But now,
Mhm.
now let's say tremendous amounts of diners are coming to the restaurant and they make a post. They don't even mention the regular our red star anymore. They're here because we are a sustainable fine dining restaurant. They want to feel good about it. There is no restaurant in any city in the world that cannot invest 50,000 to 100,000 baht, or 2.5 lakh rupees to recycle their grey water. What is stopping anyone to flush the toilets with water that they wash their vegetables with? Nothing is stopping them. So I just want to be able to, and that's why when you come to the restaurant and you dine, we just created an entire sustainability center where we exposed everything we do.
It's amazing. That's very, very inspiring, Chef. Okay, so sustainability can, of course, be looked at in different ways. It's not just environmental concerns, but like you mentioned, there's a people aspect,
Yes,
there's an economic aspect. So, if you could talk to me a little bit more about the people aspect and how
of
does
course.
Haoma engage with the local community?
Smita, there's two parts of it. One is people coming inwards, and one is how am I going outwards. Okay, so I will discuss both the
Hmm.
parts with you. And of course, this is something that we work in detail with. So I'll try to keep it very crisp. First, we will discuss people coming inwards. So we work with a program called Chef's Cares, which is run by the Charan Pakot group, which is like, let's say, the Tata of Thailand. They have multiple different businesses. They have 7-Eleven. So I produce a product for 7-Eleven where all profits go to charity. And then this product, all of the profits go to what charity? We take kids from juvenile jail between 15 and 17 years of age and work on turning them into chefs. I have two of them in my kitchen at the moment. Now, one of those girls who was as timid, as shy as a person I've ever seen in my life is now handling the entire cold section in my kitchen at a Michelin star restaurant.
That's
She has no
incredible.
documentation. She does not know who her parents are. They call them the mountain people here. And we
Mm-hmm.
worked on creating an identity for her. We became guarantors with the government of Thailand that she is with us. She's employed. She has never been late to work. She has never, skipped a day. And I think that we will take the guarantee that she will be a law-abiding citizen. So can we provide them with a ID card? And then we got them ID cards. So they don't
Mm-hmm.
become citizens of Thailand. They don't get passports, but they get an ID card which allows them to live and work freely in Thailand. And I think that is one of my biggest achievements
Incredible.
here, that I changed two lives, in terms of people.
Mm-hmm.
And then going outwards, sustainability of people for me was the program that we started in the pandemic, which was No One Hungry,
Mm-hmm.
where when the world was shying away and locking themselves indoors, we went out and we fed 500,000 people who were homeless and lost their jobs. So till like 4 or 5 months ago, we were still running this program, and now for sustainability of people, my goal is that within the year, within 2024 or not beyond 2025, I will start Bangkok's first soup kitchen. So I'm currently working on that, and we want to be able to create a program with chefs. We have a
Interesting.
program already. We want to call it Zakat. Zakat Kitchen
Mm-hmm.
is the name. Zakat is the word for what you give out of your profitability in Islam. During
Mm.
Eid, they do zakat, and they take 10% of their profits from the year and they give it to the people who need it. So we want to do
Okay.
something called Zakat Kitchen here in Bangkok. Yeah.
Lovely. That's beautiful. Okay,
Yes.
so for for a lot of diners who might be coming into to Haoma, these are people who can afford to eat, of course, at a Michelin-star
Yes.
restaurant. So many of them may think that sustainability is not something that really impacts them because of the privilege that they have, that their money affords them.
Yes.
Which would mean that you would have to do a fair amount of education to get someone to really care about sustainability. So, could you talk to me a little bit about how you do that, like when someone comes in?
This is the answer to that. And I was just working
Mhm.
on the new print. This is our entire sustainable guidebook of what we do and how they can
Mhm.
be sustainable at home. It talks about Atit, which is the
Mhm.
past, and Bhavishya, which is the present. So
Mhm.
I know that question that you just asked is a question that comes from plenty. So we thought, foolproof karo isko. And then we went
Yeah.
into went to work with a scrapper, and that works with
Mhm.
paper, and we collected some paper pulp, and then we have a company that is turning that paper pulp into this recycled book, and this recycled book will speak about what we do, what our initiatives are, and how can they join this initiative. One of the strongest things that we are doing, and that will become a part of what we are working with right now, is we are working with an organization called Tree for All. And then at the end
Mhm.
of your meal, you will be able to support by 100 rupees, 100 baht, sorry. You'll be able to support planting 5 trees. And one tree will offset in its lifespan 263 kilos of carbon emissions. And when we worked on creating the carbon emissions for our meals, that was 1/100th of it. So if you plant one tree and
Wow.
you eat at Haoma, it's 1/100th of the emission that we are working with. And if you plant,
Wow.
and now we are not compelling you to contribute to this, but if one person contributes to it, and we plant 5 trees for its lifespan, it will be able to take away the carbon footprints of 1,000 diners at Haoma. That's what our new
Wow.
plan is. This
That's
year,
incredible.
we are this year. This is what we are working with.
That's incredible. So you were talking, of course, about the meals, chef. We haven't talked too much about the actual food that you cook at the restaurant.
Yes.
If you could tell us, for people who are not familiar with Haoma and what you do with your food, if you can tell us a little bit about what your food philosophy is and how
Yes.
and what a diner can expect at Haoma when they come in to eat.
At Haoma, I do. So I once came across. I came across a book that was about the Indians. Not us Indians,
Mhm.
but the Indians that migrated out of Africa, the human migration, the early human migration. So I was reading about that, and
Mhm.
then there was there was this term in that I came across. It was called neo-Indian. which is an ethnographic movement of the Indians, the Aboriginal Indians, or the Red Indians, or the Indians that live in the land that is called India now, who have left their homes, adapted
Mhm.
modernity, but have not forgotten where they come from. So it just hit me like a wrecking ball. And I was like, this is
Mhm.
exactly who I am. I am a Neo Indian. And that's why the t shirt in the back reads Neo Indian. And
Uh-huh.
I was like, this is my food. This is what I'm going to cook. And before that, I was cooking creative, seasonal, local produce. But then I was like, Indian food has 3,500 years of written history. When you
Mhm.
open the Vedas, the Athar Veda speaks about food already, about recipes. You can
Yeah.
find the mention of a
Mhm.
malpua in an Athar Ved 3,500 years ago. They are already speaking about what you know. This is something that we say in our restaurant as well, and I take a lot of pride in this because I'm Indian. Is that
Mhm.
they when the Nords were called Vikings, and France was called Frankia, and Japan wasn't even a country, we were already writing and documenting what to do with our food, how to refine our food,
Mhm.
what to cook in wood, what to cook in copper, what to cook in brass, what to slow cook. Slow cooking that the world is brooding on at this moment started in India. So we
Yeah.
don't really need to look westwards for our cuisine to refine our cuisine. We don't need to look Japanwards for our ingredients because we have already mastered that. And I believe
Mhm.
that I want to provide that respect and honor to my cuisine, and I cook traditional recipes. Like when you come to the restaurant, this is just happening, and this stuff is here. We were having a meeting before I got on a call with you, and so we show this. This is my main course at the moment. This is
Mhm.
Madina Hotel in Allahabad, and I cook the nihari from there as my main course. And this is the
Mhm.
first
Yeah.
restaurant that I remember as a child ever going to. This is it's a stone throw away from my house, Madina Hotel. So this is what I'm bringing to the people, and we convey them through postcards. Postcards were a great way to live in memories. I show our non-Indian diners what art and culture of India really means. People think that India does not eat Japan's most essential ingredient, uni. So we serve uni from a recipe we found some Kerala
Very
fishermen
true.
cooking on YouTube. I'm cooking that dish
Mhm.
as one of my signature dishes at the moment, uni pulusu.
Incredible.
So that's the food that I'm cooking in the restaurant at the moment.
Okay,
Yes,
cool. So, I'm hoping that people are listening to this podcast and taking notes about all of the things that you do at the restaurant when it comes to sustainability. But what I
yes,
want to understand from you, chef, is what do restaurants get wrong when they think about sustainability? Because there are many restaurants that are trying to do similar things, but are
yes.
not doing it in a way that's really sustainable. For lack of a better word. So, what,
I
according to
completely
you,
understand that.
do restaurants get wrong?
See, what's happening right now, Smitha, is that we are walking towards the Great Reset in 2030, when everybody will be, butt slapped to go sustainable. If people don't understand that, they
Mhm.
must start Googling what the Great Reset is and trying to understand what the global governments are doing right now, and why every Tom, Dick, and Harry and their dog wants something sustainable in their corporate structure at this moment. Correct? So it is coming, and it
Mhm.
is coming as a massive storm. So because it is coming as a storm, a lot of people are greenwashing. Greenwashing, I believe, is massive at the moment, and tremendous amounts of restaurateurs and chefs who don't spend as much time to be able to understand the entire sense of sustainability latch onto small things like, I'm a sustainable restaurant, because I serve local product, right?
Hmm.
Where that local product is coming from, who is growing that product, how it was delivered, what plastic it was wrapped in, is not a part of their understanding. Correct. So that's where a lot of people are going wrong,
Yeah.
and a lot of people are also going wrong where there is a certain amount of people out there who are packaging their product to be able to latch on to sustainability, because let's call a
Hmm.
spade a spade. Sustainability is fucking cool right now, so a lot of people want to be cool, and they want to latch onto it, and they want to be, go green baby, and they are at with the power and position that they have, they're trying to demonstrate a green wash, and then kids 26, 27-year-old chefs who are finding themselves in senior positions in restaurants for the first time and all of that stuff. This is what they know, right? This is the best they know.
Yeah.
At the same time, they
Yeah.
also see that tremendous amounts of businesses and restaurants are extremely profitable, and they don't
Mm-hmm.
even have the S of sustainability. So a lot of people
Yeah.
look at it and go like, यार क्या जरूरत है? मतलब दिमाग खराब
Hmm.
हो
Do
रहा
I
है.
really
Why do
need
we
it?
do this?
Yeah.
Why do we really need it? The thing about sustainability is, and the thing about local, sustainable, organic, biodynamic, and ethical is that it's not the same everywhere. Smitha, Bombay की
Mm. Yeah.
sustainability, Bangkok की sustainability नहीं हो सकती. What is coming
Correct.
in, how we are looking at it, and that is why if you go and Google right now, handbook to sustainable restaurant, it does not exist. The
Mm-hmm.
only thing that
It's a
I
great
would,
book for
if
you
there
to
are
write.
if there is restaurateurs and chefs listening to this, Food Made Good is an organization that has helped
Mm-hmm.
align me as a chef. I took the in 2018, 2019, when I was running through this tunnel with no light, just wanting to be sustainable, grabbing everything that seemed sustainable. They helped us to align. So, Food Made Good is also the organization that does the audit for the READ organization for 50 Best to rate the restaurants. I did
Mm-hmm.
my first Food Made Good. I got awarded with Food Made Good now for 50 Best now, but I did my first audit in as early as 2019. I've
Wow.
and we started doing these audits, and they have this extensive ideology of what can work, benchmarking globally. How can you use the formats to, for your people? How can you use for society? How you can use for product? It's extremely good. So I would recommend everybody, maybe you could look at it for 5 minutes and, throw in a link in your podcast so that chefs and readers could look at that as well.
Definitely.
It's called Food Made Good, and it's absolutely brilliant. It's something that I
Mm-hmm.
think is just as important as delivering phenomenal cuisine to my guests. I will come back to what I started my conversation with. Smitha does not come to Haoma to eat sustainability. She comes here to eat delicious
Yeah.
food. Because it is sustainable,
Yeah.
it is a brownie point. From the eyes
Mm-hmm.
of a diner, from the eyes of somebody looking at it from the bird's eye view. But for me, it is the beginning and the end of everything that I do here.
Looking ahead, what future goals do you have for Hauma in terms of sustainability? You talked a little bit about the soup kitchen as well, but I'm curious,
Yes.
like what you said that you want to take it to the next level. So, what does the next level
Yes,
look
I
like?
want to be the most sustainable restaurant in the world. And I want to create a prototype of the restaurant of the future. I believe that all restaurants in the future will be sustainable. And this podcast gave me the idea of writing that book. So if you have a ghostwriter, let's get talking on a phone call after.
I'll call you.
Okay, so and I'm starting with that. So I want to actually take my farm. I didn't speak much about my farm. I'm going to very briefly speak about my farm and
Yeah.
then tell you what we're going to do.
Yes.
So in the pandemic, we found a piece of land that was my friend's father's land, and a lot of our friends' fathers have this land जहाँ कोई जाता नहीं है और जहाँ पे जंगल है. And they bought it in the 80s and 90s when there were plotting happening. So we took one piece of this land. It's around 3 acres, and we built a shed and we started our chickens there. And then our
Hmm.
chickens were getting attacked by wild dogs, so we built a fence around it. Then we realized that we can do a lot more in it, so we built a little house and we hired two of our kitchen staff, our dishwashers, we had too many people in the pandemic in the kitchen because we were only cooking for the homeless. So I sent a couple of guys there to the farm to work in the farm. Those guys, both of them had come from Burma, and they were farmers before. They decided to move to Bangkok to look for more opportunity or different non-farming opportunities, I'd say. So they were happy. They went
Right.
in. We started multiplying, and now we started planting trees. 3 years later, we have 100 mango trees. We have 30 coconut trees. We
Nice.
have 20 guava trees. I just planted my first anar. We are going to do pomegranate. I planted my own jackfruit. I planted karonda because as a child I love karonde ka achar, and karonda grows in this climate, so it's a summer fruit. We planted karonda.
Fantastic.
We planted some oranges because citrus fruits do really well in moisture, and it's high moisture, and so on and so forth. But now I want to take it to the next level. Of course, the question always for people like
Mm-hmm.
me is what's next. And this is the
Yeah.
biggest problem that my wife has with me. She says, you just are never satisfied with your success. You go like, what's next? So, so we go like, what's next is dairy. Because dairy is considered to be very unsustainable at this moment, right? The
Mm-hmm.
hormone and
Yeah.
antibiotic-driven dairy and all of that stuff. So I was like, I will do my
Yeah.
own ghee, I will do my own milk, I will do my own yogurt, I will do my own cream and butter. So this year, the two most
Fantastic.
important projects that I'm embarking myself on is Haoma Dairy, where we will be creating all the dairy, and the second is One Tree for All, where we will plant a tree every time Haoma, somebody comes and dines at Haoma. But the most important thing about this program is that we are going to be working with some tech guys, and I'm technologically
Mm-hmm.
very challenged. But I want to, do something cool and hipster. So I
Mm-hmm.
will let people track their trees. Every every
Oh,
tree will
very
have its
cool.
own. Every tree, the trees will be on a blockchain, and they will have a
Mm-hmm.
unique identification number, and then you can track the growth of your tree. We will monitor the growth of these trees, and
Very
a
cool.
system will upload the growth and health of these trees. This is going to be done on a Polka blockchain for all those geeks who are listening, and we are going to be able to let you once you have done that, you will be able to scan a QR code at the end of your dinner, and then you can join. You can plant 500 trees, depending on what you want. 500 trees, if you
Wow.
plant, doesn't mean that tomorrow I'll go out there and start planting 500 trees. We cannot do that. They will be planted over
Yeah.
a period of 6 months to a year. And then each of these plants will have its unique identification number, UIN, and then you could track these trees and see the growth of these trees. 90% of the trees that are planted survive. 90% of the saplings that are planted turn into trees. Sorry, and so we'll let you track the trees and your contribution to a better tomorrow.
Okay, so finally,
Yes.
what advice would you give to chefs and restaurateurs who are looking to embrace sustainability in their own establishments?
I think, like charity, sustainability begins at home. So, taking conscious
Mhm.
decisions of what you consume is very important, and also how
Mhm.
you produce your menus is very important. You do not need a carrot in your menu in July because that carrot is forced GMO grown. You do not need
Mhm.
Wagyu beef on your menu. You do not need lamb that is coming from Scotland. Uh, Great food is in India, especially, is cooked with great local product, and that is how we have lived and survived on that land for
Yeah.
generations. We don't, as
Mhm.
chefs, we don't need to feed our diners everything that melts in the mouth. We have teeth and
Mhm.
we can chew, so not everything needs to melt, and not everything needs to be, imported in the name of best product. Nobody ever says this ना
Absolutely.
स्मिता कि मेरे को आई
Mhm.
वांट टू आज मुझे बहुत याद आ रही है घर की तो मेरे को वैग्यू बीफ और स्मोक मैश पोटैटो खाना you always say कि today I'm missing home and I want to have something comforting, dal chawal
Yeah.
and some
Yeah. Yeah.
chicken curry with rice and chicken curry with fulka khila do yaar. So if we focus more
Mhm.
time and energy in defining the taste and cook with a heart and soul, everybody will love it anyway.
Absolutely. Fantastic.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Chef. This has been incredibly, incredibly inspiring, and I think for people listening, there's just a lot to sort of download and take in. But
Yes.
if we could move into our rapid fire section, just some fun, quick questions and answers
Yes.
about a bunch of things. So are you ready?
Let's go.
Okay. What is the one thing that people don't know about sustainability but should know?
The formula.
Okay. What is the formula?
Right,
This is
or
really
the
longer
formula.
than a
Okay.
rapid fire question.
Yeah, sorry, that's why I tried to keep it to one word. Okay, we'll try again from the next question. The formula is it could be right, it could be wrong. Choose the sustainable one.
Okay, fair enough. What is the first thing that comes to your head when I say Haoma?
Home.
Okay. What's the best
Yes.
dish you've ever eaten?
The best dish I've ever eaten has to be the nihari from Medina Hotel. And that's why it's my main course over the last three menus because I eat the most of it.
Fantastic.
That's why I look like this.
What's what's a pet peeve you have about the way people dine? So if you see someone doing this who comes into your restaurant, it really irritates you.
Not listening to the server or constantly just being on their phones is very irritating.
Okay, fair enough.
Yes.
What's something that irritates you when you're dining out, you're at a restaurant, you see this happen and it really bothers you?
Lying about the product on the plate.
Okay.
Yes.
What do you want chefs and restaurateurs to stop doing?
Lying about the product on the plate. Embrace the reality.
Fair enough. Okay.
Yes.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever got?
Listen to everybody, do exactly what you think is right.
And what's something you wish someone told you before you started the restaurant?
That is going to be fucking painful for a long years. Nobody told me that. Second thing I wish somebody told me was to find an investor, because doing this alone for 8 years, I can tell you, we should have found an investor before we started. Yes.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But super. Thank you so much, Chef. This has been truly amazing, and thank you so much for the time. This has really been a pleasure. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Smitha, for having me, and it was delightful, to speak to you about what we do and what our future is and what our vision is. And I hope people listening to it can enjoy this as much as I enjoy chatting with you about this.
Like, share, and subscribe to the Big Food Energy podcast for more inspirational and important stories from the world of food.